COVID is still surging, and there's still a concern about the Delta variant and breakthrough cases masking up as well.
That's right. It's time for our weekly visit from UW Health's Chief Quality Officer, Dr. Jeff Pothof. Hi, Dr. Pothof. Good to see you.
Good to see both of you. How are you?
Good. We're doing well. Boy, this is a big weekend coming up. Summerfest starts, right? It's the Taste of Madison. It's the first Badger home game at Camp Randall Stadium. Given where we are right now, do you think these events are safe? And what should people know?
Well, I think, with Delta on the scene, we just have to be a little more careful if we go to these events. And I think the biggest risk is, in general, outdoors is safer. But, what we learned from the Deer District, Lollapalooza, is if you're outdoors, but you're shoulder to shoulder, that does allow for transmission of that virus. So, if you're going to go to Summerfest or the Badger game and you're going to be in a situation where you might be that close to other people, have that mask with you. Just slip it on. It helps you out. It helps those around you out. It's one of the ways we can keep us a little bit safer, get through this Delta surge as we go about these activities.
Well, how do we, coexist with COVID and get out there and do some things, but also still stay safe?
Yeah, I think you'll see periods of time like what just happened. Last May, we were looking great. We didn't have Delta on the scene. If you were vaccinated, you could throw away your mask. You could, get together as close as you wanted. And then quickly thereafter, unfortunately, Delta came on the scene, and that changed things a little bit. We had to do things a little bit differently to protect folks. Delta will go away, and then hopefully at that point, we're kind of more back to normal. And then hopefully as time goes on, more people are vaccinated, and we have booster shots and things like that. It'll be more periods of normal and less periods of abnormal.
So now I think at Wisconsin, we're about 50% of people that are fully vaccinated. So given what you just said, do you see a light at the end of the tunnel? How would you evaluate where we are in the pandemic right now?
Yeah, I'd say we have a little bit of work to do yet. I think what you could see is, Delta cases will go up. I think they'll go up for a little bit longer yet, and then eventually they'll come back down. And then at that point, if we have low level of COVID in our community, even with a lower vaccination rate, things will get mostly back to normal. If in that interim we're able to vaccinate a lot more people, that will increase the length of time that we have, may make it last for a long time, where we don't have to do these mitigation strategies. But if we have a highly unvaccinated population, there could be another variant that comes around and makes us take these actions, social distancing, throwing a mask on for a period of time as that variant starts to cause problems. But, I do think we'll be at it for a little while, but eventually we'll get to an equilibrium where we're not talking about COVID all the time. We're not always having to do these things.
Oh, that would be nice, right? Well, a lot of people are thinking about going back to school. Do you have any final advice for those parents out there?
I think for a lot of parents, especially in this area, if, your school district has implemented the protocols that they need to implement to keep kids safe, I feel pretty good about that. We learned a lot about schools in the last year. We know kids need to be in school, but they need to be in school safely. And if there's mask mandates and there's some distancing considerations, they've got pickup, drop-off figured out, they've got lunch figured out. I feel pretty comfortable in those environments. If you are in a school district where masking is optional, that's a much higher risk situation. That's something to be thinking about with your kids, talking to them and making sure that your kids at least are masked.
And we don't have any update yet, do we, about kids 12 and under getting a vaccine? Do we know what the timeline is for that?
The best news that I hear with that is there's a lot of effort to get that done before the end of the year. And I think as we see Delta and more cases happening in kids, there's additional pressure to put all hands on deck to get those studies done, analyze that data to the FDA, and get those approved for those kids.
Thank you, Dr. Pothof. We'll be right back.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Pothof. We appreciate your time. Great to see you. We'll see you next week. Don't go far. We'll be right back.